Before we get into today's video, I just want to take a second to say thank you. Whether you know us in person or just found our channel, we appreciate every single one of y'all for subscribing and taking a chance on us small town folks. We're just a father and daughter race team out here doing what we love, racing, wrenching, and probably talking too much in the shop. So if you enjoy what you see, stick around because we've got a lot more coming your way. Alright, now let's get into the video. Saturday morning started out a little bit different than usual. I was getting my prom dress altered. And while racing and welding are more my speed, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. After that, I headed over to Mr. Heavy's house. He's the one who built our motors. My dad got hooked on them because of him. And well, now here I am, just as addicted. When I pulled up, I saw our neighbor, Mr. Jess, already there. I was a little confused at first, but turns out Mr. Heavy is pulling a motor out of an old pickup and souping it up for Jess's Jeep. And let me tell you, Jess is excited. I ran inside to change clothes real quick, and by the time I came back, they had already had the motor loaded and strapped onto our ton truck. And of course, I got a little distracted because there was this cute little thing hanging around. I just couldn't help myself. If you know me, you know I love animals. And this is Mr. Heavy. Heavy is not his real name, but I didn't know Heavy was not his name till maybe I was 12 years old. How long have you been doing this, Mr. Heavy?
I don't know. I don't keep up with years. A long time.
Who got you into this?
My Uncle Herman Moore in Claridge, Alabama.
And this is the man, the myth, the legend that has made us put piles of money into racing.
That's it. It costs. How fast you want to go.
Since Mr. Jess rode with my dad to Mr. Heavy's, I ended up taking Jess back to his place before stopping by our house to wait for my dad to call. So while I was waiting, of course I had to hang out with my June pup. She's a mess. Then it was time to head over to Mr. Danny's house. Now, long story short, Mr. Danny is our sheetrock guy. He did the sheetrock in our house, and he's been keeping our Nova in storage for 3 years. When we bought our drag cars, it was a secret from my grandparents. Not because they care what we do with our money, but because we wanted it to be a surprise for my pop-pops. My dad's been motor racing for many years, and I've been in it for 6, but Nana and Pop-Pops have never been to a single one of my race. They're too scared something will happen. And this, folks, is our sheetrock man, Mr. Danny, one of our closest friends.
This is the bar we want you to cut out, Maddie, right here.
Why?
Because those big people can't get in and out of it. You ain't gonna take a picture of me getting out, right?
We're on video now, Danny.
Because if you take a picture of me getting out, you don't
You ain't getting no picture, Miss Danny. You on camera, baby.
watch it.
Show her that nice. That was what you were supposed to be.
You got to get out, baby.
Once we got the motor unloaded and ready to set in the car, we ran into our first problem. We were missing the bolts for the front motor plate. So Joe, one of Dad's best friends, ran to Tractor Supply for some new ones while Mr. Danny and I goofed off.
The NOS is right here, the NOS.
The what?
The NOS.
The NOS?
The NOS, see right here, the NOS.
Yep.
Tell me the NOS.
That's our Go Fast juice.
Yes, see, that's what you like.
That's what I like.
The NOS.
Alright, so I told Jay that I sent him a picture of the big block on the back of the truck, and he said when he comes home from Soggy Bottoms, he's just gonna let us take the car back to our house, and he wants us to put a big block in it, and he'll just pick it up when he's on the way back to Indiana.
Sure get done. All it needs is just credit card or line of credit, whatever you want for this cash. And it'll work. That's all we need.
Go big or go home.
That's it. We can get her done.
We took a little break while we were still waiting for Joe, and then Mr. Danny decided he was going to clean the bolts to the water pump.
That, my friend, is how you take an old boat and make it look like a new boat.
Was that OSHA approved?
3 more to go.
When Joe got back, I hate to say this, but Joe Dirt is officially in this video. He doesn't like being on camera, but there he is. The next issue, the dowel pins. The engine bay is super tight, with barely any room to work. But hey, we go big the first time, so hopefully we won't have to upgrade this motor anytime soon. Once we finally got everything lined up, I got put on duty, because my little arms and hands were the only ones that could reach the bell housing bolts.
How are you, Maddie?
And I'm just gonna put it on there. Oh, Danny.
Straight to see my six-pack.
No, you
It's
hold
up there in
on.
the refrigerator.
You missing 5.
And then we realized we had a moment. Before we dropped the motor in, we forgot to put the crank trigger on. Not the end of the world, but it was definitely a pain to deal with after the fact. Mr. Danny hopped in the car to finish tightening the bell housing bolts, and that's when we spotted it. A sharp frayed cable wire, and this, folks, is where I installed our very first piece of black electrical tape on the Nova. If you know anything about me and my daddy, you know we believe black electrical tape and zip ties can fix just about anything.
That's a lot of fun.
I think I'm gonna get to the other side.
I hadn't got this far. Yeah, Maddie. Show us how it's done.
Since Mr. Danny couldn't really get in the floorboard, I took over on the bell housing bolts. But first, I had to sit in the driver's seat and just see how far away everything was. Yeah, not great, so I grabbed some pillows that were already in the car when we bought it. Apparently, I'm not the only one who has short people problems. And for my next magic trick, you'll watch me disappear into this floorboard so I can tighten these bolts. I've got a critic over here saying I've got to post tomorrow and I ain't got much time to post.
As soon as we move this tractor, you'll have a picture of a motor in a car. I hope that'll work.
Now we got a motor in the car. And Mr. Danny in his wild habitat. Yeah, race car shop.
Does that mean my race car shop?
Huh? What'd you say?
I thought this race car shop was called Poor Man's Race Car.
Poor man's race car.
Go and fire up some deer meat.
We can fire up some deer meat, wash our laundry, ice. We got the fan.
We got made down here.
You can work on race cars. And I can't lie, sometimes we do more standing around and talking in the shop than actual working. Something about shop talk just hits different. But hey, we're still piddling around, so that counts, right? And now we're just swapping out the spark plugs. Mr. Heavy just threw the old ones in when he freshened up the motor, but he wanted us to put the new ones in ourselves once it was in the car. And here's a time lapse of me trying to jack up the car. And it's going very slow, because this jack is struggling. It needs more fluid, obviously. I can argue all day, but the footage obviously speaks for itself. I stand just like my daddy. Since we're just piddling around at this point, let me tell y'all a little bit about me and my dad. I've always been around racing, thanks to Mr. Evie. I've been a daddy's girl my whole life, and he's taught me everything I know about motors. Fun fact, when I was in elementary school and did my first pageant, I walked into the interview and started talking about mud racing. And guess what? I won that pageant. We live in a small town called Newton, Alabama. My dad's parents, Nana and Pop-Pops, own a business called Roller Electric and Industrial, and my dad works for them. When we're not at the track, we're in the shop. I begged my dad for years to let me race, and when I was 12, it finally happened. Now I'm 18, a senior in high school, and doing dual enrollment to finish my welding certificate. I'm sure soon enough y'all will see some of the goobers in my welding class make an appearance in these videos. Alright, now back to the grind. We're cleaning out all the fuel lines and fuel tank. This has always been my job because my hands fit into the tiny spaces. Between that and scraping gaskets, that's how I earn my keep in the shop.
The marking great with me.
Snack break. Alright, so I guess we're calling it quits on the video.
Gonna find that sign up?
Look, he's all concerned.
Yeah,
we're gonna call it quits on the video for tonight. It is now 7:57. It's almost 8 o'clock. We're all hangry.
Rawr, rawr.
Oh, he's making noises now. We're hungry. Made a lot of progress today.
Maybe tomorrow I can hear some rattling noises.
Radiators in.
Say bye, Mr. Danny.
We like fuel and electronics. Bye-bye. See you in the morning.
Now, Sunday was a hot mess. We started with what we thought was just one fuel leak. Turns out we had near about one at every fitting. After fixing those, we rolled the car outside to fire up, only to find even more leaks.
Number one, I dumped on the daggum
I'm
concrete.
finna go dump this over here.
Got what on?
Work clothes.
Work clothes?
Work clothes. Yeah, see?
When it comes time to crank up the car, we got everybody show up. Everybody wants to come over.
The trailer on its own, so I reckon that was a good night.
That's a win-win right there.
We've been filling up this water for like
That is
10 minutes now.
Get that.
I got in it prettier.
Yeah, you look like a pro getting in there. I pulled a pin and squeezed it, I reckon.
Well, that's one thing about it. It ain't no big boy chair, but I'll be hung in here if I ever get in here.
See, spin it over and hit the ignition, see what you do.
Then, in a real genius move, we tried to start it before realizing we never hooked up the ignition.
Got everything plugged up on the eye down there.
Damn, we didn't plug the eye up, did we?
I asked you that.
We're just making sure we're getting good.
He wanted to spin it over a few times.
Yeah, I'm making sure that star was sounding good.
Oil pressure motor.
Once we finally got it to crank, I swear, it ran out of gas instantly. We did realize it needed some tuning though immediately. We're not super familiar with the magnetic trigger system, but we'll figure it out. At some point, my sweet friend Katie called, so you'll see me walk off and come back munching on Cheez-Its. After some research and a little more tinkering, we decided to call it quits for the day. When I got home, I played with 2 of our pups for a bit before heading inside. That's where we wrapped it up for the day. Definitely not the smoothest, but we're making progress. We'll keep learning, keep wrenching, and get this thing dialed in. Stay tuned for more, and hopefully next time we won't have as many fuel leaks. Thank you for watching our video.